Hey, hi,
Hey,
hi, hi.
Jason, you're live. How are
Yeah,
you?
okay, good. I'm good. I'm good. Thanks, Duncan, for inviting me to the show. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Go.
No
Yeah, thank you.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay, Jason, can you just share with us a little bit more about yourself? Because maybe some of our audience don't know what are the amazing things that you have done in the parenting space. So do share with us.
For myself, I've been in parenting maybe like the last 15 years. I was traveling. I was in Russia. I was in China, and I came back to Singapore in 2005. But that's a different story because my business partner just suddenly collapsed, and he went home. Okay, so I told myself I want to do something that I like, and then have the power or I have the ability to influence life, and I find that the best thing to do is in parenting and in children education. I mean, it's also helped that my wife Emmeline is also an early childhood expert. So we have been always talking about children, about parenting, and we love children. Currently, I have my both my children are grown up already. One of them is 23, as a girl, Faith, and then my boy is really 17, and he's in college, right? So I started in parenting as young as when Caleb was like 3 years old, and now he's really like what? When he was at 2 years old, now he's really 17. So we walked through this journey for the last 15 years, very much like Emily and I. Incidentally, Emily has another show on at 11 o'clock, so she can't tune in. If not, I would love for her to sit beside me and then we can talk together. Um, and I think that in the last 15 years, we help parents to help their children do well in school, right? I think, okay, just now you mentioned nephew and nieces, so I suppose you are still single, right? But so for you, your uncle Duncan, and but there are parents, there are all parents, whether it is in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Hong Kong, in China, maybe Asia, they always want their children to do well in school. Yes,
Yes.
yeah. But having said that, doing well in school is good. We also want to do well in life. When I say do well in life, it's about resilience. It's about having good EQ, having knowing how to handle adversity, good character values, also very important. You don't want a very smart kid, but has bad character value or a personality. And that's sad. They always say that you have a smart person in the society, but he is of a bad character, then you are bringing a menace to the society. So that's what I've been doing the last 15 years. Yeah. But I think the biggest problem now, especially for the last 7 to 8 years, is always thinking about the mobile devices, or well, let's just say the mobile phone. Yeah. So this is a huge problem. It's a big problem, and parents are always looking for answers, to know how they can help their children in this area. And that's why I'm glad you invited me today, so that we can share more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really amazing on all of the things that you have done in the parenting space, and
Mm.
even your wife as well. And I wish that she
Emily,
could be
Emily.
here with us.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
worries. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, since we are on this topic, right, I find that the topic that you are an expert in, it's quite an interesting topic for all of us today. So,
Mm,
how do we manage our kids' time on mobile devices, right? So, can you
yeah.
share with us a bit on what inspired you to come up with this topic and to share with parents all around the world?
Yeah. It's very interesting. Maybe like when I first started this parenting and doing talks and going to corporates and all, I noticed that the problems, I mean the concerns that parents comes to me is about their children spending a lot of time in the computer, the desktop, the desktop. And those were the days of the Warcraft, and what Maple Story. Yeah, okay, Warcraft.
That's
So
me.
Maple
That's
Story.
me.
Yeah,
Maple
and
story here, here, here.
yeah, those were the days where it is very much on the desktop, right, or maybe a laptop, and the parents are always complaining that this son is is very 宅男, stay at home, refuse to go out. They ask them to go to the grandfather's place. I don't want to stay at home because that's where the computer is at home. But I think in the last maybe like 6 to 8 years, where the smartphone, the advent of the smartphone, this problem is now no more just a desktop. Okay, it's about it's being on the mobile phone, and it's very sad. It's very sad, to see that. Previously, when I first started doing talks, and when children and their parents are waiting for an event to happen, okay, for example, they are coming for my talk, and then the child is waiting with the parents. Some children are reading a book. They are reading like Annie Blyton, they're reading Roald Dahl, they're reading a book in those days. But very sad to say now, anywhere you go, whether is it in Singapore, we call it the food court, I think it's the same in Malaysia, whether on the train, whether when they're waiting for an event to happen, what are children doing now?
Doing
a lot of them, yeah, they have kind of they're not reading a book, and they're always on the phone. And even sometimes if I don't drive, I take the public transport, I take the train, I see adults doing the same. And we'll talk about this later, about how parents are modeling this habit and in the full view of their children. We talk about that later. And it's very sad. And parents will come to me, right? And then they say, hey, you know, Jason, this guy every day asks for my mobile phone, every day asks for my iPad. My answer very simple. I look at the parents, I say, who gave him the mobile phone? Who gave him the iPad?
You.
And then what
Maybe
happens?
You are the one on the mobile phone all the time.
Yeah. Then what? The father will blame the mother will blame the father. You know, so yeah, it's a very sad situation now. And believe me, after today's talk, I mean, yes, I think there's MCO in Singapore, we have the circuit breaker. Just go to the food court, go to the restaurant, and see that when a family get together, the father may be on the phone, the mom, right, is on the phone, the kid is on the phone, and this is a family gathering, and sometimes I feel very sad. So that inspired me on this. And of course, along the way, a lot of parents come to me. Oh, they tell me about their teenage boys. They tell me about their primary school kids. They tell me about their preschooler, always asking for the phone. They are fighting with their teenagers over the mobile phone. And that really inspired me that, hey, I think I need to do some research. And I can do this research because I have a lot of access to parents during parenting events. And these are information that I collect from them. And that's why I put it together in a content that I want to help parents, whether is it through talks or resources that they can download or through coaching. Yeah, that's what inspired me.
Yeah, I find it really amazing, Jason, as well. So by the way, if you are watching this live, if you have any questions for Jason in regards to how your kids are using the mobile phones, if you have any questions at all, remember to comment down below, and we'll be more than happy to have Jason answer any of the questions that you want for you. So remember to like, share, and remember to tag your friends as well in this Facebook Live so that they will be able to tap into the wealth of knowledge and information that Jason has to share with us today.
然后说，在现场的观众朋友们，在现场的家长，尤其是家长，你们有小朋友都在喜欢玩手机的话，你们可以尽量在上面留言，给Jason知道一下你们小孩子到底面对怎么样的一个问题，到底他们在什么时候玩手机，他们一天玩多久，到底他们黏着手机多长的时间，你都可以跟大家分享一下，在上面留言给Jason知道，还有我们一起知道一下，好不好？
That is exactly right, because today we'll be going on with the strategies. Jason will be sharing with you the strategies that you can use so that you'll be able to manage your kids' time with mobile phones, and also being able to have a better relationship with your kids as well. So since you're on this topic, Jason, I really want to understand from your point of view and also parents' point of view, why are kids being on mobile phones such a bad thing? It's like, for me, I want to understand this as well, because to me, our phones is a wealth of information. We have the world in our hands right now.
Yes.
So why is that a bad thing?
Okay, let's take a look at from the three angles. One is that children from the 18 years old, that means 1.5, 18 months, all the way to 7 years old, right? These are what we call the preschooling age and all. Then you have the primary 1, primary 2, right? And in Singapore context, it's called primary 1 and 2. I think it's the same in Malaysia, primary 1 and 2. And then you have the primary 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And in Singapore, there is a major exam. We call it the PSLE, Primary School Leaving Examination. I think you have that in Malaysia. You call that what do you call that? UPM.
Is it still called UPSI? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called UPSI.
Yeah, it's a very important exam. It determines for us, it determines the secondary school. I mean, Malaysian friends tell me that is also important, but in Singapore, it's a super major exam. They call it PSLE, where we coin the terms that is pressure starts, life ends. Right? That's one.
Yes.
And then of course you have a teenage. Teenage is a different thing altogether. So let's talk about for us entrepreneurs, we are working adults, we have a business, we have our career. I think the phone today is amazing, right? Anything you can just access information, okay? Anything you can access information, cooking, your videos and all. But let's look at from the 18 months to the 7 years old. I mean, you guys may not have children, right? But what do you think at 18 months to 7 years old, what's the most important thing, right? To me, at 18 months to 7 years old, you want to hone their literacy skills. That means their language literacy skills. You want to hone their numeracy skills. That means their number skills, right? You want to hone the various aspects of their intelligence. It could be from musical intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, right? Intrapersonal. That means you are able to relate. You are able to talk to people older, talk to people of your same age group, and you have good communication skill. You want to even has your what? Your interpersonal, I mean, sorry, just now was interpersonal skill. That intra is about how you manage your own emotion. You want to know your bodily kinesthetic skills. I mean, from at this age group, 18 months to 7 years old, Emily and I, we always feel that this is the age that you want to develop their intelligence. Okay, even like balloon sculpting. Balloon sculpting is a bit of like big motor skills, and also fine motor skills, right? And these are what we call the bodily and kinesthetic intelligence and all. But at this age, if a child is only immersed into the phone, right, looking at the mobile phone all the time, and parents are using it as a reward. Okay, you sit here, to you finish your lunch. My girl, I remember my wife used to have regulated the TV, and she's watching like she'll be watching video like the very hungry caterpillar, and she was like 1 year plus and sitting on a baby chair and having her lunch or her meal, and that is, I won't say that is a reward, but there's sound, there's visual interaction and all. But nowadays parents you notice that maybe even the restaurant, the child can be on a baby chair, but the parents will put an iPad in front of the child and they will play. And to me, this is scary, because as they are given this habit, and a habit is habit, is something very, very forming. And once you start to give them a device like this, let me share, this child, after a while, they realize that they don't need to interact with people outside. So what's going to happen to their interpersonal skills? What's going to happen to their communication skills, right? And then they realize that, they are just looking at the screen all the time, right? And what's happening to their, I mean, of course, some parents say, some of this help them to stimulate their literacy. Yeah, that's good. But you cannot use it for all the time, okay? And especially that, these games is very attractive, right? The picture, you play certain games, the picture moves, now that's not happening in a book. I mean, you can't have a book where it's just words and text compared to a mobile phone, a device that things move, things pop up, you have colors, you have sound, you have interaction and all these things. After a while, if a preschooler is heavily being, exposed to things like that, believe me, Duncan, after a while, when they transit into primary school, this parent is going to have a lot of problems getting this child to read. And if you don't read well, you are not able to, your literacy skills are not going to be honed strongly. And as you progress, right, subjects like science, subjects like mathematics require you to understand the English language properly, to answer the question, and also to understand the question and to answer the question succinctly and straight to the point. This child will have challenges in this area. So that's why as they move on from preschoolers to primary school, where they are so much immersed, and then in primary school they have new things start to come up. Their mindset also start to change. Okay, right? So when they start to have been on the phone, and when the primary 5, primary 6, believe me, Duncan, their mindset change. You'll tell them, Caleb, turn left. What's the answer? Why? So they start to challenge it. Yeah, why turn left? My friend said turning right is better, front is better, back is better. They will challenge you. So if you allow them all these years to be on the phone, by the time they grow to the primary 5, when they're like 10 to 11 years old, their mindset change. You're going to face not only just on the mobile phones, their behavior, mindset is going to change. Believe me, it is something I walk through, right? I see it in both my kids, right? From when they're 2 to 3, doing it until now, is. And then by the time you go to secondary school, hi, how's school today? Like that. Hey, Caleb, why are you always on the phone? You don't know one. Tell you also you don't know, right? So what your question is very relevant. Parents, you have to start them, and all these habits starts from young. Right? Now, of course, you're going to say, well, Jason, now my kid is 17 years old, or my kid is 13 years old. Fine, we can still talk about that. But what I'm trying to say is that if you are preschool parents tuning in now, hey, look out at, offer them something, right? Offer them something rather than the mobile devices as a reward. The mobile phone is not a toy. That's what I'm always telling our parents. It's not a toy, but a lot of parents use it as a toy, use it as a nanny. It's a babysitter of the year all the time. Yeah, and that's the scary part of things.
Yes, but how, Jason? Some parents maybe they would argue it in this way that, but my kids, when I give them a device, I only download good apps. I only download educational apps, and I just let them play because they can learn from them. How would you talk to parents like this?
Yeah, my question is always asking, so is this the only alternative? Right? So it is different parents, they have different strategies. Yeah. Some parents, believe me, it's about like, that's the only strategy. They will use the phone app and all because it's easy and it's very engaging. Okay. And that's educational. I'm talking about education only. Now, some parents, they give maybe some slow dosage. I mean, how they say, I don't say dosage. They give maybe over the weekends. Only on Saturday, Sunday, and yes, it's some educational apps and all which they can use. What we want to do is to find a 平衡点, a balance where yes, you can tap on this because let's be real. I see in China now, especially this COVID period, wow, a lot of things popping up in China. China not only coming up in software. That is very good application, but because the hardware is cheap, right? They just can do a tablet and then they preload all the application and they're selling it with artificial intelligence coming and all. To me, I was doing a research on it. I say, okay, I don't think we can fight it, right? There are a lot of, and parents are like that. If I don't buy one for my child, if I don't let my child use it when I know that this app is good, other parents are going to do it. And other parents, they are going to gain from it. And then my child is going to be left behind. This is what we call the Kiasu mentality.
The FOMO mentality.
Yeah, it's like, it's a herd mentality. Hey, if I don't do it, I heard from my friend that. But they don't understand that some parents, they do it in a measured way. It has to be complemented by books, and I'm talking about physical books. It has to be complemented by exercise, going out to the outdoors, practicing their big motor skills. And this is very real. When I don't know, when I'm younger, okay, I'm 55, okay, at my generation, we can't afford that. I remember last time we used to have a game called the manhole. It's this guy. Then you try to cover the manhole, if not, they drop in the manhole. Now, number one, I always tell my children, or I tell parents, my small fine motor skills are very weak. Number one, I don't come from a rich family. I can't afford that device. Those days it costs a lot of money. I think it's like $100 over. To buy the device is super expensive in those days. So what do? My friends and I, we go outdoors. We fly kite, and we don't even buy a kite. We make our own kites. We take the casuarina seats, make our own toy gun. Yeah, we go to the beach. We play sandcastle. We cycle. We play football. We play basketball. What do we practice? We practice our big motor skills. You get what I mean? So even today, I like to do things that are big motor. I don't play games like Candy Crush or this, and because our motor skills are developed. In those days, very, very big motor skills. That's why we are in sports that way. Even like balloon sculpting, all this I can do because these are big motor skills. But our children today, they are always being trained on their fine motor skills. You know what I mean? All this gaming and all that thing. So what I'm trying to say is that if parents tell me that, oh yes, this is a good app and all, then my question is always, how many % of this? If this is major part of your child engagement, right, to hone their various skill set and all, then to me is that you have to tune it down, right? Of course, you can't shut it and say, no games and all this stuff and all. Okay, but maybe regulate it over the weekends, only during the weekends, right? Maybe for 2 hours block. To me, weekdays definitely no. Okay, definitely no. Especially in the primary school, and if you're in secondary school, you can forget it. If you're in secondary school and you have time on the computer, you have time on the phone, something is very wrong. Okay, I work with a lot of teenage parents. I work with teenagers who are leaders, leadership. They are in school, in the CCA, they are in church. They are good leaders and all. And when I ask them, hey, Desmond, are you very much into handphone and all? You know what's the answer to me? Uncle Jason, where got time? Our school work, our project work, our leadership work and all takes up a lot of time, and they don't have time for the phone. They spend too much time on the phone is because I think they have poor time management, and maybe they lack some goals in life. They don't know what they are trying to achieve, what's their end game in the thing and all. I mean, that part we talk about that later if we have time. But to answer your question, if parents tell me, then my answer is always how many percent you constitute. If they use a lot of on the phone, then please tune it, because you got to understand that when they're on the phone, you got to understand there are big motor skills that need to develop, right? I always use the 8 intelligence. First is the numbers intelligence, word smart. That is number smart. Then you have word smart, which is language. Then you have music smart, okay, music smart. Then you have body smart, which is kinesthetic skill, which is a big motor skill. Then you have people smart, which is how you relate with people, interpersonal skill. You have self smart, how do you manage your own emotion? And then finally, outdoor smart or nature smart, where they will go and climb mountains. I mean, we all have. I mean, I don't have outdoor smart, okay? I don't like to go and climb mountains and all that stuff. But we may be better in kinesthetic skill, we may be better in numeric skill. So I'm always telling parents that you got to understand your child intelligence. If your child is good at kinesthetic, and then you only feed him with the mobile phone all the time, then you are not fully developing his potential.
Yeah, that's very interesting. By the way, just now what Jason Ng mentioned, it was it's called the Multiple Theory of Intelligence by Howard Gardner. So if there's something that you are interested in, you can also do a little bit more research as well.
Yeah, you should
do
a
talk on. Basically means that the theory basically means that every kid, we have all sorts of different kind of intelligence. So let's not just limit our kids to one kind of intelligence.
Yes.
所以刚刚 Jason 刚才有说到是，其实你看小朋友，可能家长会抗议，就是可以玩一些比较好的、比较有教育性的 app， 或者看一些比较有教育性的 YouTube， 可以。可是它最重要的是，它占了你孩子的生活里面有多少%，这是非常非常重要。然后当然他提议的是尽量在 weekend， 就是周末的时间。原因是因为如果他占了大部分你孩子的时间，那你孩子其实玩这些不是说全部都是坏处。他可能玩电话是有好处的，可是他只是那一方面的好处，你不可能让你的孩子全部的时间都只花在那一个礼拜上面，只做那一样东西。他必须要参加刚才提出那么多7种不同的 intelligence， 然后里面有包括跟人沟通、运动、户外，什么 communication 交际之类的。
音乐，
然后我们提过了这边全部每一个小孩子要这样才能全方位的发展，他才能找到他最适合的他一种的一个地方，他的才能。
Yes, that's exactly right. So it also reminded me as well of there is this speaker. His name is Vin Jiang. So he was sharing this. How do you find your passion, especially for kids? Since Jason was mentioning as well, right? In order for us to develop in this kind of intelligence, we must first find out what our passion is. And he gave this analogy which I absolutely love, and it's like Iceland. Where do you find your favorite food? How do you find your favorite food?
By eating all the food.
Exactly right. Right. So Jason, what is your favorite food, Jason?
Mine is my indoor and outside and at home. At home is my mother's fried rice. Outside is very simple. It's just a simple. I don't know if you have it in Malaysia. It's called lor mee. Lu mee.
Yes, we do.
In Singapore we call it lor mee, right? So it's maybe it's different in Malaysia, but ours, So this is just simple thing. Of course, the Hainanese chicken rice. That's
yes,
the best.
The one, the Michelin star chicken rice.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that is how we find our kids' passion, right?
Yes. By getting that exposed.
Explore so many different things.
Yes.
Especially with the different kinds of intelligence that we talk about. When we let our kids explore different things, this is where they will discover what they truly love, instead of just being on the phones all day, just focusing on one thing.
Yeah, and that is actually, incidentally, are we able to know the age group of the crowd that are tuning in, their children in the comment?
Just ask them. So 在现场的朋友们，你们可以讲一下你们的孩子几岁，你们放在留言下面，让我们知道一下。 你们的小朋友，你们家的小朋友是有几岁到几岁的？
对
让我们知道一下，所以我们 Jason，我们跟 Jason 可以更加讲关于那个内容，关于那个小孩子的。
对
So let us know who's tuning in. Let us know how old your kids are as well. And Jason will help. And remember, if you have any questions at all, remember to comment down below and Jason will be more than happy to answer your questions. This is a very precious time that we have right here with Jason to have such a great parenting coach to help us with our kids as well, so that we'll be able to help them unleash their fullest potential.
But instead of asking them, I can assume that most of our audience currently is like preschool, 6 to
12.
Yes.
6 to 12 years old, around there.
Yeah, if it's at this age group, honestly, gentlemen, Sloan and Duncan and all, is if you are talking about preschoolers, please, parents, those that are tuning in, okay, this is the age. Okay, if you go to, this is your index finger, right? This is your index finger, okay, everyone. You know, this is the age we call this. If this is like the preschooler's age until maybe like 7, this is what we call the age of instruction. You know, okay, you see, you can use your thumb and you get them to move. They will move, correct or not? They will submit. You see, this is the age of instruction. This is the age that when you tell them and you communicate firmly, this is the age of instruction, because they will submit to you, right? And then if from primary school, when they move further up, you notice, you want them to bend, you want them to submit, okay? Yeah, they will still submit to you, but they will start to challenge you, okay? You see, compared to this, you tell them to do something, they will do it, okay? Compared to at the 6 to 12 years old, you get them to do something, they will question you, right? John, turn left. Why must turn left? My friend said turning right is better, right? A lot of why, a lot of challenging. And then, okay, the third segment, right? You hold this, you try to bend the top portion, the top one, okay? You hold this, Okay, this is the age of the teenagers. This is the, how's school today? You know, so you see our children go through various phases. First phase, age of instruction. Second phase, this is the age that you have to start to be able to model good behavior yourself, because if not, they'll challenge you. They will tell you that, like, you tell me not to use the phone, mommy, but you're always on the phone yourself, right? Correct or not? Then this is the age, as if you don't handle well, the teenage group, they'll be defiant. That's where the teenage angst or all this will come in. So if let's say in this group, our children are at the preschooler age, really, ladies and gentlemen, parents are not tuning in. This is the age that you have to really give them instruction and they will have to do it. I'm not, you know, I cannot stand it. I'm sorry. You know, I in my church, I have, Emily and I, we are both, I would call slightly more senior. We have young couples who come to us. And, you know, there's this young boy who's always on the phone. And what we did is that Emily bought a book especially for him, you know, like the book that has a lot of interesting stuff and all. And guess what? The mother in front of us gave it to the son. Do you want this book? Do you want to read this book? Now, guess what? What do you think this young boy at 4 years old, would he want the book or do you think he want the mobile phone? Come on, Duncan and Ashok. What do you think he would choose?
Mobile phone.
I mean, I'm sorry, but to me, it's a stupid question, right? And then the boy said, no, I don't want. I want my phone. And then, you know, he was not interested in the book. And guess what? The parents tell Emily, hey, Emily, don't force him. Don't force him. Must respect him. Respect my food. I'm sorry, okay? Respect. I mean, at this age, if you're telling me that you cannot even be firm and get your child to do something, then I'm sorry. Don't blame the child for being on the mobile phone. To me, I blame the parents. You know, my fellow parenting educators and myself, we always say that when a parent point one finger at the child for using the mobile phone, right? They are always pointing 3 fingers at themselves. You get what I'm saying? To me, this is a case of, you see, we are all good parents, okay? Next time when you get married, you get children, you'll realize that we all love our children. We don't need expensive clothes, we don't need diamond rings and all. We'll give our children the best. So I think in the crowd today, we are all good parents. But having said that, we have poor parenting skills. You get what I'm saying? Good parents, they're really good parents, they will do anything for their children, but we have poor parenting skills. So if I'm if today's group is about the preschooler and lower primary schoolers and all, yes, maybe the balloon sculpting and all this, these are the lower age group. My advice to parents is that, hey, we all know, we all love our children. We want to give them the best, right? We'll save on ourselves. We want to give our children the best. But we are good parents, but we have poor parenting skills. Some, I'm not saying everybody. Why? Because we are not able to understand that at the preschooler age, 我们说的算, you get me now? In Chinese, 我们说的算. But I'm not saying that we are autocratic, while we whip our children into submission and all. But it's about modeling, it's about setting rules, about setting boundaries, understanding consequences, and all that stuff. And that is the thing about parenting that we have to learn in order to communicate the message to our children effectively. Right? Parenting is not effective. Parenting is not a coincidence. Let's be real. Right? 不是巧合不是哇你很 lucky 你的孩子今天听的话哇杰森你很 lucky 对不起这个没有 luck 的成分在里面我也希望每个星期六每个周末我可以去打 golf 做我喜欢的东西可是我觉得作为一个父亲I need to spend time with my children 我应该以一个父亲以一个家长的
以身作则
以身作则对了因为说哇你很 lucky 我跟你这样讲 effective parenting 就是有效的亲子关系不是一个巧合是要经营的就跟婚姻一样了是要经营的所以有些家长他们喜欢来找我跟我的太太他们要一个 quick fix 他们好像说Jason 我的孩子整天沉迷在他的手机他们希望我给他6粒 Panadol 每一天吃1粒那6天那这个孩子就没有了这个问题不可能的这个不像你走进 7-Eleven 你买一个 whipped potato 啦你现在去 7-Eleven 哪里都可以现成的 instant you can get instant fix right you go to 7-Eleven you can get instant noodle instant whipped potato everything instant But I think when it comes to parenting, when it comes to about the mobile phones and all, it's not instant. You have to change. You have to because if you keep on doing the same thing, you cannot expect results to be the same, right? To be different all the time. Okay, yeah.
Okay, Jason, I think a lot of parents are like, okay, Jason, I understand what you're saying. Please tell me what can I do?
当然跟 Jason 也讲得非常重要，就是你要希望你的小孩子是什么样的一个情况，你必须要以身作则，这是非常重要。而且你不能说，当你小孩子出现问题的时候，你才要直接去解决它，因为这是一系列的一个 event 来的，一 series of event， 这是一系列的一个不是不正确，就是比较不应该的选择，身为家长做的选择，才会慢慢的导致小孩子开始变质，成为现在你觉得小孩子这样做不对的话，都是一系列的选择造成的，所以家长必须要很注意，是你不能说我今天你上完今天的课或者今天来到这里，你就能找到一个 solution 一个解决方案，直接一天解决。你必须要再慢慢花时间去经营这一个小亲子关系，我们讲 parenting， 这绝对不可能是巧合，你必须是父母要身为花，就算你再怎么爱孩子，你都要拿出那个心，拿出那个时间，慢慢的去教育你的孩子。
对。
So Jason, what can parents do now to help their kids build that strong relationship with their kids and also to manage the time with all of these mobile devices?
Okay, so it all different age group so I think at this group I assume that we have the preschoolers all the way to the mid primary school. Now if you're talking about preschoolers, parents who are tuning in, it could be mothers tuning in, it could be husband and wife tuning in. You need to sit down as husband and wife, as parents and you need to define your roles in your what you call the co-parenting, co-parenting, because there is a father's role and there's a mother's role, right? So you need to sit down, and this is really for the good of your children, and you want to be proactive now, right? And I see successful parents that has now their children are not into all these games. They got good character values. It's because they took action when they were young. I mean, when the children were younger, they sit down. I'm not saying that you need to go for a 1 week retreat, a planning meeting or something like that, what we do in corporate. You may just want to spend an evening or maybe 2 evenings with your wife or with your spouse and define your roles in co-parenting. And you got to sit down and say, okay, this is my son, our daughter at 3 years old. How many hours of mobile devices, mobile phone, we got to give them per week? In a timetable, right? In a timetable, fill up all the activities that they have, then all the white spaces, the empty spaces and the free time. Okay, maybe weekends we give them a 2-hour block. Saturday, Sunday, right? Maybe they have their classes, they go for music, they go for piano, then okay, we reward them with 1 hour of mobile devices. Now, this you got to deepen yourself, and and you got to sit down as husband and wife, as co-parents, to say that this will not happen during mealtime. We will not use phones as a way to reward them during mealtime. Right? And I'm talking preschooler now. I haven't gone to the primary schooler. Then you got to say that maybe in the car that cannot happen, right? If you are driving, right? And then what's the substitution? It could be a musical instrument, right? It could be getting them to practice balloon sculpting, which I love it. I tell a lot of children, actually, if a lot of children, you have a good coach to help them. A lot of children love balloon sculpting. That's what we did when parents come for workshop, right? Then their children, especially the preschooler, we took them out and we put them in the room. We got our own in-house balloon sculptor to teach the children how to do balloon sculpting. I tell you, a lot of them love it, from the preschoolers all the way to the secondary schooler, especially the secondary school. They love it because they realize that, wow, this is something very cool. I can make a flower, I can make a dog. So coming back, what I'm trying to say that, so parents, you need to sit down, define the timing, right, that you allow your child to be on the devices. What are alternatives? Look for alternative. Go to the internet. There are robotics that they can learn, Lego set they can play, balloon sculpting, musical instrument, take up a sport, kick a ball, blah, blah, blah. There are tons of things. I don't need to tell all this. Just go to the internet. What can my child do besides playing the computer? Okay, there's tons of information that there. Okay, I don't need to go through all these things. So to me, this group is yourself. You have to manage it. Okay, and at this age, you can slowly win them off. And to me, I will get them to hold a book, right, rather than hold a mobile phone. Holding a book, seriously, Duncan and Iceland, you don't understand how effective this. You won't know how effective this strategy is, right? Especially when they slowly substitute. And I'm saying that at the preschooler age, you can get them to wean it off very fast, because the habits are still not like cast in concrete yet. Okay, and these kids are not going to argue with you, right, when you implement new policies, right, so-called new policy and regulation. And that is if you have instilled effective parenting when young. Okay, so this is the preschooler age. Now, as you go to the primary school age, this one I would suggest we need to have rule setting at home. You know what is rule setting? And that comes in family meetings. I don't know how many of you all have in the group, how many parents have rule setting? That means you set rules at home and you have family meetings. Have you? I think maybe they can type in the comment page having family meetings at home.
So let us know in the comments down below if you have family meetings or rule setting as well. So, and then we can see how we can engage with that as well.
Yeah.
So let us know in the comments.
Yeah, I do that as a training with the parents. How do we do family meetings, right? Let's say you have a family of 4, and I'm talking about preschooler now. That means they are like primary 3, they are like 10 years old, 11 years old, 9 years old, 11 and 12, where they have a mind of their own. Okay, and you have to allow them to speak, to bring out their own concerns, their point of view and all. And it always work that we have a mineral water. Let's assume this is a mineral water, right? Right. Whoever holds the mineral water get the chance to speak. So if let's say you have let's say I'm the father, then the mom, and then you have 2 kids or 3 kids. Because the youngest one is always going to get neglected in a family meeting. So the youngest one, if he holds a water bottle, he get to speak or she get to speak anything, right? She will have her own say, and we have to keep quiet, shut up and listen, right? Then they will start to say, all right, mommy that day was not nice, daddy, blah blah blah, I didn't like blah blah blah. Let them talk, okay? Then the second child, the first child, then the mother speak, the father speak. Now, and that's where you lay your family rules. Right, to me, that has been so far effective. And you may say, hey, Jason, this is very cliche, this is very Angmo, We always feel that this is always done in Angmo family. But these are things that is, to me, it doesn't care whether you're Angmo, you're Asians, or you're Huang Difu, 还是你是 what. It is rule setting at home, and it's in during situation like this, right? In room families meeting like this, my family, my wife and I, we lay down markers, right? We lay down boundaries. What are the things that you cannot cross? For example, pornography. And that's maybe it's not so relevant in preschool and lower primary, because you don't feel that you will have this problem now. You have this problem, then something is wrong. I'm talking about secondary school. When Caleb is in secondary school, right? When he's like 14, 15, and to us, pornography is something you cannot cross the line, right? When you cross it, you bear heavy. This is a boundary, a marker. It's a 底线, correct? You cannot cross it. You cross it, you have huge consequences. When I'm talking about pornography, a huge consequence. You will be disciplined, right? You will be reported to, to us, because we go to church. You will be reported to your church leader, right? For them to talk to you. Of course, we as parents, I'm not saying that I push the job to the church leaders, but they will get to know, and to them, this is huge embarrassment, correct or not, right? And it doesn't stay in the family. You will have withdrawal of privileges, okay? All sorts of stuff. These are boundaries and consequences. And then we all have ground rules on about cyberbullying, right? Not to be nasty to people online, right? They're on the phone, do not participate, and we teach them all sorts of stuff. So it's in family meetings like this, and then we set up the time limit, right? The time, right? Okay, this is the timetable, only on Saturday, maybe 4 to 6 before dinner starts, or before we go out for dinner. And go to Ama house, go to Gong Gong house, you don't hold the phone. Oh, but my cousin, they also playing. I said, that's your cousin, right? So they know the certain rules and all. And my wife will communicate with my sister-in-law and say, hey, can we all have this common ground that we don't give our children a mobile phone when we are at the Ama house and Akong house, right? So that the other child said, hey, yeah, but Isaac can do it. How come we all cannot? They have this kind of comparison and all that thing. So I think this, to me, in primary school, and all this, Duncan and Iceland, co-parenting, it has to come in. Please do not play the game of good cop and bad cop. 我们华语说，一个唱黑脸，一个唱白脸。爸爸说可以，妈妈就变黑脸，就说不可以。妈妈说可以，爸爸就变黑脸，说不可以。Now, please don't play this game. 这个是什么唱黑脸、唱白脸？这可能在生意上我们可以玩这个游戏 ，right? Okay, I do that sometimes. I tell my guys, okay, 我唱黑脸 I will say no. I will say no to 30% discount. Then someone will say, okay 啦，我们将就一点，不要 30%， 我们来个25% 可以吗？这个是一个唱黑脸，一个唱白脸。This is okay. But when it comes to parenting, let's don't do this, because it has to be consistent as co-parents, right? When my children come to me sometimes, mommy, daddy, mommy come and ask me whether can I go do this over the weekend. You know what's my answer? It's always, what did mommy say? Right? You say, oh, mommy say I have to ask you. No, I say, what did mommy say? Yes or no? Then they will have to give answer. Mommy say, because I got this, mommy say no. I say, if mommy say no, then of course it's no. Right? Daddy and mommy will always give you the same answer. Then they know, because I tell you, children are very smart. They know how to say it. They know how to manipulate. They know how to, yes, I'm sorry I use the word manipulate. They know how to take advantage, exploit the situation. If father is always the bai lian, doing the good things, then I tell you, this is trouble, right? This is troublesome. Yeah. So then when it comes to teenage, right? I don't think there are any tuning in, but teenagers is a totally different ballgame. Teenagers is about spending time with them, dating them, bringing them to a restaurant that they like to eat. Most probably it's a Korean restaurant or Japanese, right? Please don't bring them to the Tai Pai Tong and then at a crowd of people waiting for your seat and all, and then you start to talk about, hey, what's your aspiration in life? How can mommy and daddy help you? That's not true. Teenagers is about finding an atmosphere, finding the what to talk to them. So I think for all that I've said, that's why I say effective parenting is not a coincidence, right? It is something that we have to put an effort. But I only want to share that successful parents, they take action. And for those parents who has attended lessons, not just from me, but they have read books, they have gone for training, they attended talks, they implemented the strategies that the parenting speaker said, many of them do find that they do see a good effort. But that is not a one-day thing, not a two-day thing. It's a period of time. But I'm saying that in preschooler, it's very easy to implement. Trust me. Preschoolers, because they are still not like hardcore, as compared to a secondary 15, 16-year-old boy, that is the different thing altogether. But preschooler is very hard. It's about you yourself as husband and wife, setting down the boundaries, setting down the roles that you play, and then you just slowly take it off. It's okay, man. Preschooler, we notice that it can be done. You just have to substitute to something that they like, okay? Yeah.
So just to be clear, if in the audience, if you have younger children, what you can do to help manage your kids' time on their mobile devices is number one, limit the amount of hours that they can spend on it and use different alternatives so that they can explore different kinds of activities and intelligences as well. And if you have older kids, this is where a family meeting or a house rule, this is where it can be implemented, where you can have discussion with your kids on what are the boundaries within a home and what are the consequences of crossing over those boundaries.
Yeah.
那其实我刚才觉得非常有趣的一个 part 就是 Jason 提到的 family meeting 家庭会议。为什么一个家庭？其实，在正常的传统，我们是华人嘛，就算不是华人一样，传统的华人的思想里面，我们是不会有这一个家庭会议的。通常爸爸妈妈 set a rule 就是可能会有规则，可能有些比较多家庭会有规则，现在比较少。但通常是父母设了规则，就是这个规则的，而小朋友是没有机会去发言的。然后Jason刚才提到这一个，我觉得非常重要，是因为父母要从观察小朋友的发言当中，才了解小朋友的世界里到底所有的这一切是怎么样发生的。因为我们大人看的眼睛是不一样的，然后从那里得知呢，再来去审查，再决定你应该设的 family rule 应该设的那个规则。我觉得这是一个非常棒的一点，因为我 family meeting 我只有在西方国家有听过他们有这样的东西呢，他们不是拿波特，我看过的是他们拿 talking pillow， 可是当时我并没有想过为什么他们要这样，而今天突然间在Jason的那个谈话当中，我才发现到，原来你可以从这一个方面你了解了你的小朋友之后，你再来决定你的方案是什么 ，what is a strategy， 从那边你就知道你要怎样跟你的两个父母之间如何讨论出更完善的一个规则去规划小朋友的成长。
Yeah, I think that reminded me of a phrase that I absolutely love, and it is first understand in order to be understood.
Yeah.
So when we have this family meeting, it gives our children a chance to be understood, and at the same time, we give them the opportunity to understand our point of view as well on why we think certain things need boundaries. So I think it's an absolutely amazing way for us to have a healthy and strong family relationship.
Hold on a second. So Mavis Chan was saying that, can you have another session for teens? And yes, we would love to have another session. So maybe, but we're going to ask Jason first. Jason, would you like to be on here another session for us?
Teens 啊，我跟你讲 ，teens 啊，跟preschooler 的方案真的是不一样的。teens 啊，真的 teens 啊，you see 啊。we always like, when I get invited in schools or 那些corporate to do talks, they always ask me, Jason, can you speak on this topic? How to talk so that your child will listen? They always emphasize that how you talk.
Good one.
But I say, I'm sorry, but maybe the talk should be how to listen so that your child will talk. That's exactly like what Duncan and Iceland you summarized just now. Right? I think you did an amazing summary of what I just said. It's it's at that time we always want to say, oh, we want to know how to talk, then they will listen. But I think for teenagers especially, it's not about how you talk, it's about how you listen first. Right? How you listen, then they will start to talk to you. And that is why when it comes to teenagers, a lot of things you need to do. You need to date them, you need to set up the atmosphere. I call it ABCDE. You need to set up the atmosphere. 跟那个孩子讲话那个场合那个地点是很重要的，你不可以跟他说今晚10点来，我在房间跟你聊。
哇，这个是打架，
打架，不然他就说哇，他妈妈今天要我做什么，我可能今晚就离家出走。你 get me 了啊 ？Atmosphere is very important. Setting boundaries is important. 就是一个 teenager， 你要有什么东西？可是我跟你说 boundaries sorry 我们也是要，我不知道嘞，因为我们有我们的 values 价值观。我们有我们的 values. So during the family meeting 刚才说的那个家庭会议 我们以一个爸爸一个妈妈，我们要设立我们家庭的价值观 ，our family values 啊。因为我们 family values 是 like you must have heart, integrity, blah blah blah, right? Respect, compassion, graciousness, fear of God, whatever. 那你要有values 的。So 这个在方面我是讲的你是一个 Christian， 你有你的 godly values， 你是一个 Muslim， 你有你的 Muslim values， 你是一个 Hindu， 你有你的 Hindu values， 你是一个Buddhist， 你也有 Buddhist value。你说我没有信仰，你也有一个你的家庭的价值观。所以我觉得在这方面 boundaries 因为有时 parents 来跟我讲 ，especially teenagers 所以如果其实我的孩子色情网站 pornography， 我跟你讲这种东西只要他以前我们是要知道 ，last time we need to know what is right and what is right and wrong 以前我们的年是 we must know what is right, what is wrong 这个是价值观。现在我们孩子其实我觉得他们很可怜他们不单只要知道 what is right and wrong， they need to know what is true and false。因为在网上现在很多 fake news 对不对？很多 fake news 的东西，甚至他们不知道他们给他们看到他们接触的是不是真的还是假的他们还要费力去有自己的思维的现象。所以我们虽然说我们的孩子现在什么草莓族其实他们也是很可怜。他们在这方面因为太多的那种信息太多的引诱太多的那种 temptation which we don't have this during our time. Honestly, we don't have this during our time. So in a way, when it comes to teenagers, A, atmosphere, B, boundaries, C is communication, 沟通and how you communicate is very important. D is that you need to what is their destination? What are their goals 一个 teenager 没有 goals 没有他要做什么的话，这个是很危险的，他不知道他做什么。So that's where when it comes to teenagers, career talks, intelligence tests, personality tests, what MBTI, Enneagram, DISC, they need to understand what's their goals in life according to their strength. And that's where, like you said, there must be that exposure. If they say, hey, mommy, I want to be a balloon sculptor, congratulations. Then be the best balloon sculptor and systemize the business, create a big system or something like that. If they, I think I want to sell chicken rice. Congratulations, go out and sell chicken. I mean, of course, even as a father, I wish my son would be a lawyer. I wish my daughter be a doctor, be an engineer, be an accountant. Accountant not enough, must be a chartered accountant, this kind of stuff. And I tell you, it's a struggle, right? If your child display certain strengths that is not aligned with what you think that he should be, then you struggle, right? I learned this from my daughter that day. It's called vicarious ambition. 就是我们以前自己得不到的，对不对？好像我现在看，我看我的一个朋友跟我同学他的成绩还比我好不了很多他是一个眼科医生我去找他做我的手术我发觉他一个晚上做4个手术他一个晚上就赚1万多2万新币了，一个晚上但我算一下，我说你一个月你的钱是不得了那我说我早知道我用功一点我现在我可能也是一个医生因为他也可以做医生，我也可以做医生的。可是我们往往家长就有这个我做不了医生，我希望我的孩子做医生，你明白吗？我们在新加坡我们要当兵，我如果有些家长有些父亲我知道他自己不是军官，他在当兵他做不了军官，他就要他的孩子做军官，你明白吗？所以这个叫 vicarious， 是我们把我们自己的愿望放在所以 teenagers 真的 teenagers 我跟你说，如果是他们沉迷是 handphone 这种因为是他们没有 destination， 他不知道他要成功是要做什么，right？ 而且他的 expectation 所以我们讲 A atmosphere, B boundary, C communication, D destination, E expectation, then F is their future, blah blah blah. So this is a huge topic altogether. But teenagers, some end of the day, but teenagers something is very, I always see that it's an iceberg. You know iceberg? 你知道那个冰雪那个 Titanic 的 iceberg.
Yes.
外面孩子呈现的一个 teenager 孩子呈现 他们沉迷的手机啊，只是你看的冰山的一角。可是在下面可能他是有一些 esteem needs 他有 esteem needs， 他有 actualization needs， 他有一些 basic needs 都还没有解决到。那 let's just say 我试过，我有在辅导一个，不是辅导了，我们要他参加一个课程 ，and then 他的 mother 或者他的 father 带他来 ，then 我们这边跟他谈，他就很说 OK。他说好，我要上个课，因为那个课不便宜了 ，it's about $4,000. So we told her, like, hey, you have to agree If you don't agree $4,000 plus, hey, that's that's about 15,000 ringgit Please don't waste your parents' money. Then we thought okay already搞定But when he brought in front of the parents straight away he said no. We were shocked. How come his attitude changed? Talking to us he was like, wow, everything he said yes, Uncle Jason, Auntie Emmeline, or something. But when it comes to the parents, straight away he become 叛逆 And then guess what? It comes from him. 他突然间说，他的 mother 讲一些东西，他就说你不要跟我讲这个，我连下个星期或者2个星期后，我是跟你还是跟爸爸，我也不知道。哇 ！Then we realize something, right? That means the parents are going through matrimonial challenges themselves. So this son, this boy, let's be real. He has his basic needs, his food, house, and all this there. But the second needs, the Maslow's second needs, the security needs, 他连他下个星期或者3个星期后，他是跟随爸爸还是跟随妈妈，他也不知道你不要跟他谈什么 actualization needs 你的计划是什么啦，你的 O level 要考多少，你不要跟他谈这个，因为他连基本的那个安全的 needs 嘛，他都还没有 settle 你怎么样去跟他讲这些以他来说的大道理，你明白吗？所以这个就是我觉得很多 teenager 你看的是那个冰山的一角。有些 teenager 他是中学，他很胖我们见过很胖他中学已经是80多 kg 其他的人玩 football 玩 soccer 没有人要他在那个团队里面因为他是一个累赘嘛，他很慢嘛，他又笨重讲不好听。所以他就怎么样？他就沉迷他的 handphone 他沉迷在他的 computer 那边嘛。因为在他 computer 里面你们知道了 ，Maple Story 他的名字是 Iron Man， 他是 Spider Man， 他是 Invincible Man， 他是 all powerful 的。在虚拟的世界，他是一个英雄来的嘞。在现实的生活，他是一个狗熊因为他胖没有人跟他玩什么。所以渐渐的这个 teenager 他就把他的那个 what do you say， 他的 self esteem 是放在他的虚拟的世界里面，因为在里面他可能很厉害他带队Warcraft 他的下面有500个人他是那个 guild leader，他们半夜4点去打仗什么，这个是他就在里面，所以 this is the 冰山的一角 ，but below there's a lot of things that we don't understand. That is why we need to correct we need to dig and then find all the things and that's where parenting has to come in. 也是 like I say 那个这个就是很累的一件东西。有时候家长跟我讲 ，Jason， 我都没有时间了 ，I hand to mouth， 我要打3份工作，我还有哪里有时间带他去 McDonald's 跟他聊天什么？这个就是一个this is the vicious cycle。对对，所以 parents 就是有时候我们就是要 role model， right? Especially sometimes, but I'm not saying that parents 的婚姻有问题，孩子就有问题，没有，我也看过 single parent 培养出很好的孩子，为什么呢？因为这个孩子他自己可以突破他自己的思维，有些孩子他们的 resilience 比较弱的话，比较 weak， 然后他就会给这个家长的 marriage 影响到。Right? 除非他要去 training 自己的 mindset 什么的，所以我觉得我们的思维我们的脑袋的培训是很重要的，对不对？很多人花很多钱去买漂亮的衣服包包，我觉得我们要怎么样去培养我们的脑袋的 mindset training is very important, and it doesn't happen when they are adult. I always tell that my children need to train their mindset from young.Right, but 他们是 they got it from the church and then it's the training. So as family, whether you can, I mean, I know of temples, they also train their children in terms of values, right? In terms of their spiritual values, you know, and that's very important. I mean, to me, that is a fundamental, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think what Jason covered it's really something that maybe not a lot of parents have been exposed to in terms of how do you develop your kids' mindset as well. And like what Jason mentioned, it really makes a lot of sense. Like even us as parents, what we understand our kids is only just the tip of the iceberg. What is that big pool of things that we don't know about our kids, and that could be their potential as well. So I really think that this is something that if our audience they love to hear more, let us know in the chat below, and maybe we can steal another hour of Jason's time to do another different topic as well.
那其实刚刚我是觉得听完Jason讲的时候，我是觉得比较伤感的，是因为有些父母他们忙着工作，忙着其他的东西，头脑放在前面，他们都会以为他们了解他们的孩子，这很正常，因为你孩子是每天跟你长大，你每天见他，你就会误以为的觉得你了解了他们的全部，对吧？可是你其实并没有真正放心思下去陪他们，去用strategy来去了解他们的话，因为可能有些父母是觉得说他们只是看着小孩子，他们就知道小孩子做什么，他们只是问他就知道他们做什么。可是有的小朋友，或者是有时你的孩子，就不是小朋友了，尤其是我们讲的 teenager 的时候，他们会隐藏一些东西，而他们可能隐藏的原因有很多种，你也不知道，所以你必须要去 correct 的意思，可能就是要去，也不是要挖出来，可就是你必须要通过不同的方式去了解他们，一直常常去跟他们沟通，你必须要花那个心思来完成这7样 A B C D E F， 刚刚我们讲完了 A B C D E F 6个，给他去真的去花心思去了解，而且是这个东西是非常重要。我刚才觉得一点是，这是 consistency 来的，你不能说今天我了解了就了解，而是你必须要整个成长的过程中一直去了解，一直去发掘你小朋友冰山底下那些到底是什么东西。而他们选择的任何一样东西，你都要支持他们，因为当他们找到那一个目标的时候，这就是他们可以发光的时候。
That's exactly right. So we only have just a little bit of time left with Jason. So parents, if you have any questions at all, please do remember to ask your questions down below in the comments so that Jason can answer your questions for you. So today we have covered a lot of things. To summarize all we have covered in this hour.
Actually, to me, I found out that when we told Jason, what we heard today is just like the iceberg on top.
Yes, that's
exactly
a lot right.
Down there.
Yeah.
Actually, it's true, guys. You know the part about you see, while I solve the children problem, sometimes we also have to solve the parents problem. Especially parents who say they struggle with time because they have no time, they are working very hard and all sort of things. And there's two aspects to it. Number one, I always tell parents that you need to find time for your children before it's too late. I mean, this is why I want to share my own personal story. 我的姐姐她在2014，她就diagnosed with pancreatic cancer， 胰腺癌胰脏癌那个是很致命的，胰脏癌 pancreatic cancer 1年你就肯定是So I still remember 2015， 她就那个肿瘤就回来了，因为很快这些1年嘛，2014开刀，所以2015 July she was warded in hospital, and then her lungs failed her. Then they put a tube through her throat, so she cannot talk already, and because and then she was gesticulating. She was very angry. Then I realized that she wanted to write. She wanted to write something, and we gave her a pen. I gave her a clipboard. And she wrote, she wrote on the paper, I have not finished my bucket list. 她没有写这 full 了，她写 I then not bucket list. Wow. So basically what she's telling us is that I don't want to go. I have not done a lot of things in her life. But my sister is a successful business person, but I think her biggest regret, 她连孩子 graduate 也没有看到，连孩子有没有 girlfriend 也没有看到，连她的女儿有没有 boyfriend 她也没有看到。But 所以我跟家长讲 ，yes， 赚钱很重要，我是说那种赚很多钱的啊，那种 career 很厉害的啊。You may want to 有时要看你的 priorities in life，因为到头来，我觉得每个人在临走的时候，他不可能是说，哇，我希望我会得到那个 Ministry of Defense 的 tender 了，不可能的。他会说，哦，我希望我有过点孩子的时间啊，什么对，一个人在临走的时候。把另外一种 parents 就是那种哇很缺钱的，他们 caught in the rat race， 他们是 hand to mouth。所以这个 hand to mouth 的呢，我跟我的太太就有一个 program， 我们叫 financially free families， 就是教家长，哎，你怎么样去创造另外一个 passive income， 不要整天就像老黄牛这样，整天就工作哈。其实有其他的方案让你有一些 passive income 的。就是即使啦，然后所以我们就有一个 program 叫 4G parenting， 是教他们怎么样去 generate more income， 怎么样 govern income, grow income, and then to give away income. Especially generate income 啊，我觉得 there's a lot of things that we can use, especially now 啊。现在 e-commerce 也可以，你可以很免费去学e-commerce, digital marketing， 对不对？你可以做 blogging， 很多东西 you can create a side income。A passive income. Even let's say balloon sculpting. Honestly, if let's say there's a trainer who can teach people to do balloon sculpting, do you know that once you learn this skill set, you can duplicate 的，对不对？你可以去 duplicate， 所以 to me, I'm always very excited that you know that you must learn a skill set, right? Like e-commerce or anything. So in Singapore, Emily and I will also. But I'm the one, not the one that, I mean, I can't teach balloon sculpting, I can't teach e-commerce, but we get experts to help these parents and to get them to 有一技之长，你 get me 啦？ Or even 有些I think this one Malaysia 比我们新加坡好多。Malaysia 的人会做什么 MLM 啦、direct selling 啊这种东西啊。新加坡人我估计我们是太安逸了 ，we are too comfortable。每次跟他们，有些我看一些做 network marketing 的哈，我就看到一些家长，哎呀 ，I don't like sales this I don't like sales。Hey, but in life you need to have this kind of skill set here。所以我觉得新加坡人太安逸了 ，right？ Singaporeans are too comfortable. They but they are out there. They fall through the crack and they really studying. And it become a vicious cycle. 这是个恶性循环。他们家长没有时间，孩子就沉迷在手机，他们的成绩又考得不好，他们就。这个，所以变成家长又没有去培训了，他们的思维是那种很 old school 我骂我 threaten， 我打你，我 scream， 所以变成整个家庭的环境就变得很不健康，
不美满。
所以这个就是你刚开始问我为什么 why you want to do this topic？ I said this topic is a big problem， 真的，这个是一个很大的问题。而且这个不单只是新加坡 Malaysia 哪里都是这样啊 right？ 就是我看我的朋友韩国也是在 Instagram 里面看到他的孩子拿着一个 handphone， 2岁的孩子拿着一个 handphone， 他就好像洋洋得意，哇孩子很厉害。我跟我太太讲，哇连韩国也是这样子我估计中国也是这样子，哪里都是这样子啦，对不对？这是一个全球的问题啦。OK。
Jason, we actually have a question from the audience. Mavis Chan is saying, what do we do if they do not abide by the rules or they do not care about the restriction or privileges?
How old is this child first? May I know?
15 years old.
15 years old.
Yeah. So this is the part that can what I wish. What do you mean that they don't care the consequences? Maybe okay. If they can't answer, never mind. Okay. So number one, they disrespect the rules, and okay. This one I got two solutions. One is a technical solution. One is an emotional parenting solution. Now, last night I was I think we talked about it before today's program. Parents, please go to the internet. Just type best parental control software apps for iPhone and Android. Best parental control, like mobile phone parental. I'm not going to list it up here today. Going there, you will see a lot of either free or they give you a trial and then after that you pay some small amount. Things like what Family Pack lah, True Pack lah, Kapinski, Home Free. a lot of this stuff software that you can actually implement. Okay, now for me, you see, when Caleb was in secondary school, he needed a handphone. They need a handphone now to go to school, right? Because the teacher will be using Telegram. Hey, I tell you, the teenagers, they are not even using WhatsApp, they're using Telegram. Okay, and some parents don't even know what is Telegram. They have to have a Telegram app because the teachers are using it to send information, assessment papers, reminders and all. So he needed an iPhone. He needed a phone, right? He needed a smartphone. Now, to us to buy that smartphone, we need to make a decision. We need to set down the rules with him first and the boundaries with him. So we say, Caleb, we need to implement this software inside your phone. That was what do you think his answer? When I say I want to put a parental control software inside,
of course say no.
What do you say? No, right? I don't want. I say, okay, you decide. If you either want a phone, I get you this smartphone, or I get you a $69 Samsung candy bar phone. You know the candy bar, or the Nokia, which now nobody uses already. Now, to him, he has to make a choice. But all these we all set down the rules first. Okay, so we install. He allowed us to install. But having said that, do you think we activated it at all? Not at all. We don't. But it is a deterrent, right? Okay, it's a deterrent. Now, but I'm saying that this can be easily implemented for the primary schoolers, the 11 years old, 12 years old below. They will listen. Trust me, they can't fight you in this area. Okay, the younger ones. Please don't tell me that your 7 years old fight you and say cannot. Then I'm sorry. That's more than parenting problem that you have now. Then I tell you, I don't blame this child. You have not been good. You don't have good parenting skill. Yeah, you have not been a firm parent. But it comes to secondary school, yes. If you're telling me 15 years old, they will fight you, right? Now, then we talk about boundaries, right, for teenagers. Like I say, parents, have you set down the boundaries first? Because whoever asked the question, Ms. Mavis, right, you need to understand, have you been talking about it every week, right, emphasizing it, setting down the rules, or rather just, okay, you see, in my family, when Caleb was in secondary school, the mobile phone is on the charger at 10 o'clock every night. 10 o'clock. No two ways about it. He doesn't bring it to his room, and then, because some parents tell me, Jason, I have to work, so I have to sleep early. Then my son is in his own room. I mean, if the children has their own room, then he may be on the mobile phone, and I don't know until what time. So for us, the phone is at the charging station, charging dock at the study room by 10 o'clock. So he doesn't, right? And then he has his own alarm clock. Please don't tell me you need the mobile phone to wake you up. Then I buy you an alarm clock, right? I can even buy you a clock, a digital clock that you can set an alarm and something. So there's no excuse that the phone must be beside them. So it's always there at 10 o'clock. Now, of course, now he's in JC, he's 17 years old, 18 years old. We don't need that anymore because we respect that as a young adult. He knows what he wants to do and he's responsible enough, he's accountable to himself, okay? But at 15 years old, I know they will be defiant, right? And what maybe said is not new. I don't care. But to me, as parents now, then the withdrawal of privileges will have to come in, right? Now, by asking a question like that, it's very hard for me to answer because I don't know your family situation. I'm sorry, but is it absent father, absent mother? Are there any family, which please don't type in the public, right? It's okay. I mean, if you need to contact me, you can always PM me or whatever, right? We need to understand the child's behavior, even the physiological stage, right? Like I say, right? Then we need to understand the schoolwork, right? What's his roles? What are the child responsibility? Many facets that I need to understand. I can't just give that in. But of course, if you say, if you don't listen, to me, very simple. If they don't listen, I withdraw the privileges, right? First, I take away the handphone. But if this family is, okay, let's say, for example, now it's Caleb. If let's say he 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strikes is out, I take away the phone. I don't think he dare to, Caleb, in those days in primary school, he would dare to scream and shout and fight every night. Because we know that it's not going to happen. But I don't know your situation. I don't know your situation, right? The person will ask the question. How has this child been behaving? Has this child always been aggressive? Has this child always been defiant? Has this child been like dominating the brothers and sisters? Or does he have a sister that can talk to him? You see, like for example, if Caleb were to misbehave, I'm not the only one that will talk to him. Emily is not the only one. He has a sister that is 6 years apart from him, right? And the sister is like his role model, and the sister can also discipline him, discipline in a way of verbal. So you see, that's my family. That is, of course, Jason, you're in parenting, your family is definitely better. But like I say, effective parenting is not a coincidence. I know of families where, but if this child has always been abusive and defiant, and then when you take away the phone, there's going to be World War III at home. So I need to understand what's the situation. And parent, I also need to understand your marital problem. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that you have. And if you have an absent father, then this child is just manifesting and showing all this kind of unhappiness. So you need to go and have that special moment with him, right? So then you say, but Jason, he won't go out with me lah. That is another thing that you may need to do, right? You may need to take time off your work, and I need to know: are you a businesswoman? Are you working very hard, or you have a 9-to-5 job? These are all things that has to be tailored very, very seriously. Right? I can't answer this question straight, but what I'm trying to say is that if they defy, they break the rules, 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strike, you are out. I will withdraw your privileges. I may even withdraw your pocket money. And I tell parents to do that, because then they say, oh, if they don't have pocket money, then they run away home, they go and work, then that's a very, very different thing altogether. Because for Caleb, I can use, or maybe some parents, they can use the withdrawal of pocket money as a consequences, not a threat. I'm not saying that, the moment I think, but it's because you have broken once, you have twice, you have 1 strike, 2 strike, the 3rd strike, I need to withdraw part of your pocket money as a so-called punitive discipline, right? So-called. But some families, the child will have to bear the consequences. They know they have done wrong. But for some families, this child is super defiant. Now, that's because there's a lot of underlying problem and all. They don't care. Then the parents will worry, 哇，他如果去外面交一些不好的朋友，不良的人教他怎么去赚钱，then that one I will say that 这个不是说 on that day 变成这样子的。I think 没有一个孩子他今天起来他就说，哇，我今天我要变成一个叛逆的孩子，对不对？我们男人也是这样，我们不可能一天起来，哇，我今天我要去搞婚外情，对不对？我今天要拿一把刀去捅人家，nobody wake up like that。来，一个男人去搞婚外情，也就是他跟他的同事，我今天我接送你回家，慢慢的就在车上跟他聊一些私事，哎呀，我的老公整天出差，我的老婆什么什么什么，then after a while 过了1个月2个月，这个婚外情跑出来，对不对？ So a child is the same， 一个孩子不可能今天起来，我今天要变一个叛逆的孩子，他这个是慢慢的形成，慢慢的累积，慢慢的形成，搞成现在。Because for every cause there is an effect， 对不对？来，你 Chinese 是什么？有因就有果。For every cause there's an effect。So you want to change the effect, you have to change the cause, parents， 对不对？我现在拿这个东西我这样放下来，它掉下来嘛，我放它也掉下来我做1000次它会掉下来，对不对？因为这个东西如果满天飞我怕对不对？ So 我们要，因为它有一个 cause and effect 嘛，所以 if you want to change the effect， 你现在要你的孩子不要叛逆，要遵守一些家庭的规则， then 你的 cause 你的因要改变了。家长 ，what I'm trying to say that you must be doing something not desirable, not accurate, not right. That's why today they are having this problem. So you need to change the problem. You need to change the cause. Right? Because Albert Einstein say it's pure insanity. We sell to keep on doing the same thing, and you expect results to be different. 你明白吗？说家长，你今天跟我说你的孩子叛逆，不听你的话，那你每天只是 scream and shout 什么你做同样的东西，你不可能有不一样的成果的 ，correct? It's pure, it's 笑 to do the same thing and expect a different result. OK， 哇，
我们讲了蛮久了，所以我其实真的非常感谢今天杰森。刚才从我们一开始到现在，杰森其实从一个小小的一个点，就是如何防止小朋友用电话开始，我们就可以发现 原来现在的家庭当中 ，parenting 当中出现了那么多种问题。其实从这么一个小个点，可以发展出这么多的因和果、原因之类的。
对，
真的我觉得非常 insightful 的。Jason share this a lot， 因为 Jason 重点是 Jason 有很多经验，他可以给我们知道不同的家庭，因为我们可能只是想到说，我们是来自这个家庭，所以我们可能会以为全部家庭都是这样，可是真正的是每个人的家庭都有自己的问题，都必须要自己去审视自己的孩子的问题在哪里，然后要如何去改变你的孩子，或不是说硬去改变，而是如何去培养你的孩子才比较对。当然也非常感谢今天 Jason 的到来，但我很希望我们有机会可以在下一次再见到 Jason 再来谈其他话题。我觉得 Jason 呢应该还有很多的宝藏让我们去挖掘，对不对？
That's exactly right. And just as a summary of today, what we have learned, if you have younger school kids, remember you can limit the amount of hours on mobile devices. And you can also give them alternatives, all sorts of things and activities they can do. And remember, this is where you can start having family meetings. Family meetings is where you can start to have a family that's understanding. Your kids can express themselves. You can express your views for your kids as well. So Jason, before you leave, please let us know, where can we find out more about you, Jason?
Wow.
We definitely will post out your information.
Okay. And I mean, just search for Jason Ng, right, in my Facebook, right? You will see me. Very good.
Okay, thank you very much, Jason, for your time. Thank you for joining us here today.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, and we'll see you again.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.